broadcasting live from our studio in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned in to Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. Hello everybody, welcome to Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. If this is your first time tuning in, WCZR is an independent streaming rock station based out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Give us 20 minutes if you haven't tuned in. We play lots of great music, lots of great stuff from the Fox Cities, and occasionally we get to do some cool interviews like this. My next guests are two incredible musicians with storied careers. They are playing in Round Lake Farms today. Their latest album is called Long After the Fire. I'd like to welcome Vicki Peterson and John Cowsill to Fox Cities Core on Code Zero Radio. How are you guys doing today?
Hello, thanks for having us.
Hello, thank you for having us. I'm going to repeat everything she says.
I think you are. I'm going to repeat everything he says.
You guys put out almost a year ago an album called Long After the Fire, which is the first album that you guys did together. And you're almost a year into it. How has the album been as far as touring it a year in?
Well, we take them with us when we leave from the house. And we have about 15 to 20 of them. And we go home with about 3 to 4 of them. So we sell a lot of them when we go to our shows. And CDs too.
I think it's always a surprise when we start a song that you would think nobody's ever heard, and someone in the audience, cheers or sings along, and that's very gratifying.
Yeah, it cracks us up because we don't think anybody knows it exists.
We wanted to make this record, and our whole goal with doing it was just to A, have fun, and to B, shed some light and bring some attention to these beautiful songs that were written by Barry and Bill Cowsill. Yeah. And we just wanted to honor the record. I mean, that was really our goal. We weren't looking for, a Grammy or a hit, which was lucky because that hasn't happened. So
thank God.
Thank God. That would have been so obnoxious. But I feel like we have been honoring that record, and people have been enjoying listening to it.
Well, and if you lived under a rock for the last 30, 40 years, you probably haven't heard of the Bangles or the Cowsills. But just to kind of set the table, John, you were in the Cowsills starting in the 60s.
Yeah. And
Vicki, the Bangles, I mean, two huge bands. And I know you... I know we've talked about before how you guys came together, but I mean, maybe you want to just quickly talk again about how your worlds collided.
Oh, we can make the long version now because we're here on live radio on Face and something else, whatever it is.
What are you saying?
Wherever we're popping up into somebody's
true.
Virtual reality.
That's true. It could be anywhere.
So tell them how I met you.
How John met me was how I met John. I'm going to put it that way because I was the instigator. I was a big Cowsills fan as a kid. I really just loved the family dynamic. I felt like I was supposed to know these people, and which every stalker fan thinks. But strangely, I was right. So there. I was actually right. I was supposed to know these people. And when I did finally get to meet them, which was in 1978, which was 10 years almost.
It was in April,
9 years,
actually,
it was,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we're heading towards our anniversary. It was, several years after their last hit, but I was already in a band with my sister and my best friend, and we were playing a small club in Redondo Beach, California, and the Cowsills turned out to play that same club. And so we managed to make sure we were there, even though we were underage. But
do you remember the name of that club?
It was called the Sweetwater Cafe.
Yeah, the Sweetwater Cafe.
In Redondo Beach. It exists no longer. But we were there, and it was just a meeting. There was nothing. Well, things magically happened for me, but nothing magically happened for John. I can say that with
no.
I
was pretty
certainty.
Stoned the whole time in those days. So I mean,
he was unbeknownst to me engaged to somebody else at that very point in his life.
Flavor of the week.
Yeah. Oh God. No. That doesn't make you sound very good, dude.
I'm just trying to sound a little hardcore.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Good try.
Anyway.
Good try. But anyway, so we met and then sort of continued. I continued a connection with the family ever since that night.
She continued stalking the family.
I did. I was a stalker, definitely.
She'd show up at rehearsal rooms. And
I was invited.
We were fine. Yeah,
I was
They were
invited.
my brother Bob's little harem, and so they'd show
We were
up.
his little
now
project.
And then. We liked it because cute girls in the room, and you could play better.
Okay.
Well, I've heard Vicki refer to you guys as members of because of all the different projects they've been involved in.
Yes.
I mean, we've got the Psycho Sisters, the Action Skulls. We've got the Beach Boys, Continental Drifters, on and on and on.
Yes, exactly.
Like Twilly.
Members of, that's, I think
Jan
I
and
Jan and Dean for John.
Jan and Dean, Grease
Who else
the
you
Cat. Yeah, we're serial band members, pretty much.
And that was one of the cool things about this album is, John, especially for you, you're able to step up in the front and be a front person finally.
Definitely different for me, definitely. But I welcomed it.
I mean, he was always a featured singer, but it was never by name. And, again, and same with me, actually. I was always, even in the Bangles, I sang a lot of lead vocals and sang all night long because I did a lot of harmonies, but it was never under my own name. And that's different for us. It's something about having your name on a project you feel really responsible for.
Yeah, you feel more responsible. Like normally, if I'm rubbing for somebody, too bad if nobody comes, not on me. But like if they don't come to our show, it's because
you failed.
Because we failed.
So come to our shows.
To make me feel like a non-failure. What's the opposite of
success?
a failure?
How's that?
To find a successor guy thing?
No.
Whatever.
John's tired. John has a cold.
I have a cold, and I'm sorry. So those of you who are coming to tonight's show, I'm going to act like I even have a worse cold than I have. So you'll say, wow, you did really good because with that cold you had.
Being a front person all of a sudden, is there more pressure to not get sick? Are you fearing getting sick more?
Good question.
Andy, that is my new fear is that. And I never had fear because like I can play drums, piano, sing backgrounds. I can be so tired, drunk, sleep deprived. And I can do that. I can do that sick. I've played with fevers. I don't care. But not singing. If you lose your voice, that's the instrument. And like,
that is tough.
And it happened to me because I sing with the Smithereens sometimes. And I got this gnarly cold. And I didn't know what to do. It's like, I've caught off guard. It's like, this can't be. I have 2 shows coming up in 3 days.
Speaking of the
So
sympathetic sneeze coming.
I just felt so guilty for getting sick. And I called them up like almost in tears. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm ruining your gig, And they said, well, that happens. It's like, no, it doesn't. Not to me. And so hey, I am talking. You sit still.
I'm sitting
I'm married
still.
to a cat, I swear to
can't
God.
sit still.
I'm married to a cat. Anyway. So yes, there's definitely, I worry about getting sick. And I thought this run was going to be great. I got 3 Smithereen gigs. Vicki and I have 2 gigs on this run, 5 days, piece of cake. And the second day I'm out, I get sick and I get a head cold, and I'm wearing a mask, trying to stay away from people. My hands are all clammy and trying not to touch anybody because I slobbered on you when I came into the room.
Did you?
No, I didn't. Okay. But yes, that's a real concern, and I'm probably talking too much about that. So movingon.org.
Doesn't adrenaline help that at all when showtime gets?
That's the best drug in the world.
Yeah, but adrenaline doesn't give you your voice back. It just gets you up enough. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine, and it'll be a rally. And I think I have enough of a voice that it won't suffer too bad.
I remember playing with horrible bronchitis in Norway one year with the Bangles, and I had 103-degree fever. But by the time I got off stage, I had sweated it out, and I felt so much better.
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of miraculous.
There's that aspect.
There is that.
Yeah.
Did the rest of the band try to stay away from you during that show?
You know what? It was because it was in the 80s. We didn't have that consciousness.
We didn't have COVID consciousness.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. You didn't really realize that. Oh, there's germs. Oh, people get sick. You just sort of blithely go through life. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the catalyst that got this latest album started was Paul Allen. As far as getting you guys to do it, because it sounds like it was something that was talked about for a while, but it took a little pushing to get you guys into the process of actually tackling the songs.
Yeah, the same thing that kind of kept us from ever playing music together for the many years that we've been married is the same thing that stopped us from actually pushing the go button on this project. We talked about it, it's a great idea, yeah, we sat around, but as far as actually like picking songs and making a date to start and how are we going to do it and all that we give credit to Paul Allen, our producer, for that, because he got things rolling for us.
And where did you meet Paul at?
Paul Allen. In the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I was a finished carpenter, and I didn't know how to get a drum gig, so I just built things for people. And I remember getting a call from my local lumberyard up in Ojai, California, that they had a customer who needed some special skills, and so I'm thinking, and they're calling me, and I'm thinking, okay, I must have some special skills. What could this be? So I go up there, and I go to the house, and this young woman comes out, and she's knocked down dead gorgeous, and she's got her, what I guess it's her son with her, and I just looked at her. I was going to say yes no matter what to the job, whatever it was. And so it was like about a couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, I'm sucking for a pretty face. So I said yes, but the deal was that her son was going to work with me, and that's how I met Paul. And he was there. He was probably 11 or 12 years old. And I looked at him, and he has this inquisitive look on his face that he still has. And we drove around in my white 1988 pickup truck and did jobs, taught him how to drill into rocks and put gate hinges in a raw rock and that kind of stuff. It's very rural up there. And I was putting windows in a barn for him, and I went in there, and he had a beat up drum set and a guitar with a dog leash wrapped around it. And I'm going to sneeze, so.
Here we go.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
So,
Thank you.
I fixed the dog leash for him around, and there was one string on it. Anyway, that was really fun, and he was lovely, and it was a great job to do. I turned him on to a youth group at a church to go play guitar with, and he hooked up with them. And then I never saw Paul again after that job until I was playing the Ryman in 2017, probably. And I got a note backstage, hey, this is Paul Allen. I don't know if you remember me. And of course I did. I'll never forget this kid. And but I didn't think, why would he remember me? Anyway, he's one of the top session players in Nashville and has worked with everybody. And it was just lovely to see him. And that night we had just struck it up and been friends ever since, and told him about the project, that we had these ideas to do. Years later, he called me up. He lives in Nashville, and I was playing in Memphis because I was with the Beach Boys for 23 years, and I was doing a gig there, and he said, hey, you're in Memphis. You want to go record at Sun Records? And most people would go, yeah, and I just went, why, But I had forgotten that I told them about the Brothers Project, the Dead Brothers Project. And so he said, well, what about the Dead Brothers Project? I said, oh yeah, that. He said, well, let's go. You can say you recorded at Sun Records. So we went there, and we chose a song that was really appropriate for the evening, and it was called Is Anybody Here, which is a tribute that Jeffrey Hatcher and my brother Bill wrote on behalf of Roy Orbison. And there he was on the wall in that studio, and it was a magical night, and that was the first song we did. Then it took about a year and a half or so to start the recording of the whole album. But he pushed us. He made sure, come on, man, let's go. So we always felt this pressure from him we better hurry up and get our album done. He took control, and it would have never gotten recorded without this man.
Well, and how did you go about finding the songs? Because these are songs that your brothers, Bill and Barry, wrote over the course of decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And some were probably performed, I believe, once or twice even, or you had like a copy of one song that was performed once.
Yeah.
A few of them had been recorded. Bill's bands, the Blue Shadows especially up in Canada, had recorded several of the songs that we wrote. The Cowsills actually released two of them, one as the Cowsills, even though it was just Bill on the record. And And then, but yeah, there was one song that we had to sort of grab off of a live cassette recording that Barry had made, and had to sort of decipher the lyrics and figure out what the heck. And we did a completely different version. His was almost sort of pseudo ska, and ours is definitely not that. So we did a very different version, but we did learn the core of the song from a cassette tape.
Yeah.
Was that a little therapeutic to bring some of these songs kind of to a new audience, really?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And they're our favorite songs. So it wasn't hard for me to pick what I wanted to be singing. And I don't think it was that difficult for Vicki, but she thinks more about stuff like that. I just knew what I wanted to do off the top of my head. So
we arm wrestled over a couple of things.
Yeah.
It seems like the songs that you did, John, are more of the echoey kind of Sun Studios sounding songs.
Definitely traditional country, more that flavor, and that's where I lean towards anyway. And it just was a great project, and we didn't know if we were going to have a record come out. We just recorded it, and a lot of work because my brothers had passed away, so we couldn't say, hey, I'm going to record your songs. Cool, do you want to sign this waiver? So we had to find who published them, and they were not organized young men. They were all over the map, and we couldn't find their songs. It took about 7 months to find all the ISWC codes and everything you have to put it on the database into a product nowadays.
How does that work for the song that was on a cassette tape that's not professionally recorded? Do you have to get rights for that?
We called up,
yes,
but we called up people to tell them we have this song, put it in your publishing, organize, get this so we can use it. We wanted to be legitimate. Yeah. We don't want to stink off any family members or because there's some wobbly relationships out there that could have gone haywire, but it didn't. It stayed sane, and it was okay. And so we got all those codes and paid all the licensing fees to use their songs to the proper channels. And so that was a lot of work. And that, had I known we had to do that first, we probably would not have recorded anything because we recorded everything just to show, oh, they're my brother's songs. Of course I can record them. And they're not here. They have passed away. So that was a lot of work to put that together.
Any surprises as far as how things turned out? I believe Paul Allen was doing a lot of the instrumentation. You did the drums on most of the songs.
Yeah, Paul played on a song, and then I did the rest of them. But yeah, and I played some piano, and Paul played a lot of the heavy instruments. Vicki played her guitars, what she normally does, and I played what I normally do, and Paul enhanced it because he plays everything better than us. Yes. Everything, including drum. He played so many drum tracks trying to just get sounds and stuff that were perfect, and I said, dude, I'm not going to re-record this. That was the best version of the song. Nope, you're playing. It's
you're playing drums.
Dang. He said, that was the deal. You're playing. It's no, that wasn't the deal, but it was, I guess. Anyway.
We did experimentation on keyboards looking for certain sounds, like cello sounds and bell sounds and certain just embellishments and things to sort of add flavor and different textures to songs. And he would let us sort of sit in the studio for 2 hours goofing around, not goofing around, really searching and stuff. And then he would come and go, what about this? And just why did you just give us enough rope to hang ourselves? So
no, he didn't do that. He made us work too hard.
But then no, we'd find something, but sometimes it was a struggle.
There's a song called "Come to Me," which I'm sure everybody's been talking about, which just it gets me every time. It goes into that ending part and just takes you somewhere.
Rock, yes.
Takes you somewhere
Brings
you're not
the rock.
expecting, and
Yes.
I love that song so much.
He surprised us with that because we had cut that song, and I think I played some piano on it, and it was okay. It sounded okay, but it was missing something we didn't know what. And he went back to Nashville, and he says, "I'm going to send you a treatment to this song." And it was pretty much that arrangement with the floaty keyboards and stuff.
Yeah.
That the ambient he put in it, the taking away instrumentation was more important. in those verses. It's so stripped down. It's just vibe and textures and floating. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album, by far.
But as far as the ending goes, that was sort of a nod to a 70s trend where, and the Cowsills even used this on their On My Side album, which was where you'd have an outro, you'd have a line, guitar line or whatever, and then it would fade out, and then it would come back, and that was sort of this, sort of a moment in time. It was sort of a trick that was used on a lot of 70s rock records. And so we decided to use that little nod to that era.
But when he sent that to us,
we did that in the studio. I remember.
I must have been sleeping.
You were sleeping.
Must have had a cold.
Maybe.
Well, there's a guitar line in there. It's like a deen, 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 deen,
Yes.
deen. Like it's so catchy.
The bass part, yeah. I told him I wanted him to,
and it's really quiet the very first time you think you're hearing something, and then he brings it in full force, and it just.
Because it was a bass line. It started out as a bass line, and then I said, you got to double that on the guitar.
It was amazing.
How has recording changed over the years? Obviously, the two of you have been involved in so many recordings. Now being able to do this at your home studio versus some of the Cowsills and the Bangles albums way back in the day.
Yeah.
Is it more relaxing? Is it less stress than going in there and trying to pound out something in as short time as possible?
Well, it's economically way better.
Yeah, you're not spending
we don't have to pay by the hour for a studio.
Spending the down payment of a house,
There's pluses and minuses. We don't have a lot of outboard gear that probably you would get with a big studio. And we don't have a great mic selection, but what we have works, obviously. But yeah, there's something to have it in the house downstairs. You can just go play, and it's totally soundproof. You can play any hour you want, and nobody will say boo. And we live in a canyon, so.
I got to say, Paul gets extra credit because we were working for the new millennium antiquated equipment. I mean, we were using one of the oldest
ProTools
versions. We were using very, very, very stripped down, very, very minimal outboard gear, like I said, and so many things we needed to kind of find workarounds, and we didn't have a separate control room or anything like this. So there were definitely challenges for Paul as a producer.
Yeah, we had to open the door because we had sucked the oxygen out of a very, very small room. It's like 8 by 18 feet is the studio. And then and we called him, he referred to him as Space Bar. But,
I just hit the space bar. That's all I do.
I just hit the space bar. But and we had to take breaks because the computer would say, "Okay, no more."
Yeah, the computer wanted a break,
and we had to cool it off. And even though it's all digital, but it just you've reached the capacity of use to me today.
My brain is done.
Abused me. You're asking me to do Pro 212s on a Pro Tool 8. Stop.
Well, the album is great, and the cover as well. Henry Diltz did the photography, which when I was in Los Angeles, I had to go see where Morrison Hotel was taken.
Course.
So, it was so cool. How did you get him to do your album cover?
Called him up.
Yeah. We've known Henry for
we've both known Henry.
Years.
Everybody can know Henry. He is the most approachable. He's at all the shows. You just see him. He's always wearing a denim shirt, long gray hair part in the middle with ponytail, and he's got. You should take a picture with his camera now. Just and you'll look at that and you say, why didn't my phone picture come out that way?
Yeah.
He's
magic.
He's magic. Anything he touches.
And he's just a sweet soul.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, he calls us up. Hey, I'm coming to your show. I say, great, thank you.
Now to be fair, we had set up, I think, 3 different times for him to come to the house and shoot for us, and he would forget, or we had to reschedule it. But it was magic
because he runs himself.
Yeah,
he doesn't have somebody do it for him.
Doesn't have staff.
He does have a young man named Gary Strobel who organizes all his stuff, and he's actually a videographer and not a photographer as much as Henry is, and they work together. I've known Gary for a long time. He has a lot of footage of every decade. So he works with. But Henry's easy. Anybody can call Henry up, and he'll come take your picture. Yeah. He'll do it for you.
But we have to give credit to Pamela Springsteen, who she had also come to the house that same month and had done photos that we ended up using for the inside of the album package, and we've used in other other
all the advertising
places
stuff was
online
her.
and everything.
Yeah.
And it was her idea when she saw John's truck. She said, "You got to use that truck. We got to use that truck,
Yeah.
and you got to put it in a video or something." And so when Henry came to the house, he said, "We're using the truck."
And we put it in a
Which we
video.
did.
Thank you, Pammy.
Thank you, Pam.
Of course, Pam is Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Baby
Right.
sister, yeah.
And John, your truck, I believe you got it new in 1988.
Brand new, first new vehicle I ever bought. And I just got a birthday present that I'm allowed to get it restored.
We're going to get it,
I'm going to have it like the day I bought it.
yeah.
And so I can drive it the rest of my life. I have 20 years left or so, probably.
He's
Well, that's
decided.
realistic. I'll be 90
Okay, fair
then.
enough. Yeah,
So
that's good.
that's
You'll be
not a
driving
lie.
your truck at 90. I love it.
It's in pretty good shape. I mean, probably not having the road salt in California
That's
helps.
true. We
believe me,
don't
but
have to deal with
It's
that.
got a second engine in it, so I've driven it hard. That was my work
Yeah.
truck. And Paul Allen, he was so excited when he found out I still had that truck because that's what we drove around in. And anytime that I'd want to go somewhere, and like in present day, he says, "Are we taking the truck?"
Taking the truck
Because
to the
I'll
market.
go then. He'll come with me. He was just like sitting in the truck, and we have laughed in that truck so hard. He and I,
Oh, my God.
all three of us
Magic.
have
Yes,
going to
we
get
have.
tile stuff and everything.
Oh,
Paul, we help each other with home projects. Like I did a deck for him out in Nashville, and he's out in the California helping us with our studio because
So we're
that's his
rebuilding.
forte.
And you guys also did the video for 1,000 Times in the truck, which I believe Vicki
The
edited.
truck,
And
yes. It's all homegrown.
that would have
Most of it.
cost about $100,000 back in the 80s.
Yes,
Oh my
probably.
gosh, right?
Oh, my God.
I just put my iPhone on the counter,
Yep.
on the
Counter,
on the
on the
dashboard,
counter.
and pretended I was turning our song on the radio. And I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on.
Okay. This is the sneeze interview, kids.
Like, while John is sneezing, we had a question. What is your favorite instrument to write songs, and what is your favorite to play live?
Oh, that's a good one. I tend to write songs on guitar, which is, I guess, sort of not a huge surprise. But sometimes it helps to switch up and move to an instrument you don't know as well. Like I've written songs around a bass line before. I don't really play piano, but if I sit down at piano, sometimes I'll get an idea because my hands aren't going to go to the same chord progression that I will normally fall into. So that's sometimes a good way to shake things up. And playing live, it's probably, electric guitar for me, noise guitar preferably.
Well, and John, I know you were obviously drums were your major instrument.
Whenever I write a song, I always like to write with drums. Just kidding.
It's not a bad idea, actually. You could still do that.
I can sit and make up stuff all day long while
Yes,
I
you
play
can.
drums.
I know, you could.
I don't really write songs though.
Not yet.
Have you seen the new Elvis Epic movie?
No,
No.
but I want to.
That's good. And I
It
thought
looks interesting.
I've heard you before, John, say you're a performer, not a songwriter, and that's how watching Epic. That's what the same thing as Elvis.
I'm an
He was
entertainer,
an
yeah.
entertainer, not a songwriter.
Right. Me too.
Yeah, that's true.
We are with Vicki Peterson and John Cowsill. They are in Brillion today to perform at Round Lake Farms, and this is, I'm guessing, your first time in Brillion, Wisconsin.
Why would you say that? You don't know that. We were driving through these fields and these sort of winterized meadows and thinking, where are we and where is this GPS heading? And then we pull up to this beautiful oasis in the middle
Really?
of
Just
rural
gorgeous.
Wisconsin. It's just beautiful here.
And John, you're doing a double duty. You've been performing with the Smithereens, and you guys have been doing these shows in between. Glutton for punishment, or we're
We're trying to be efficient.
It's also
Efficient.
new, Andy, that it's just I'm trying stuff out and see if I can deal with this or not. Seriously.
Trying to see if you can handle it.
It's a lot for my brain. I'm so simple in how I will like to approach things. I'm one-track minded. It's like I don't put something else in the lane because I just want to drive straight. And this is so messed with that. And singing with her, merch, booking hotel rooms, booking flights, rent-a-cars, and having to talk to everybody.
Isn't he cranky? You're so cranky.
I get cranky.
You're so cranky right
but
now.
I'm better at it. I used to be really
Oh,
bad.
yeah, you are way better.
I wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, this is improved, by the way.
Not because
Just
I don't like anybody, just because I don't want anybody to ask me anything, including her. She asks me too many questions all the time. I just say, just one,
I'm just
please.
curious.
Just one question.
But I have a follow-up.
Oh, God. So
I'd be a better interviewer.
I'm just not a good, as she said, I'm not a good pop star.
You're
It's
a very
embarrassing
bad
to
pop
me.
star.
I don't like to talk about me. So excuse me.
What's the dynamic been like playing together? This is the first time you guys have been doing, your material together, the material on the album. Any friction so far, or any surprises in the way you guys work together?
Basically, no. We have a very loving relationship, and if anybody's the AH, it's me. I'm the hothead. I'm the gasoline. But she just gives me the mom look, and I chill out, and we laugh a lot.
We do.
Andy, as you know, you've hung out with us, which is pretty much, this is it. You're getting what it is. We're wise asses, and
It's definitely not the worst case scenario, which I had worked out several different ways this could have gone, and we're actually very fortunate, and things have been pretty dang smooth.
Yeah,
and we do have a good time, and we're good. We both have very different driving styles, but we knew this up front. This was something
that'll break us up if anything.
We always
the
said
driving
that,
thing.
like that, but
we know that.
But we know it, so we work on that. We're very aware of it.
And
we talk
don't
about
hold
it.
grudges when it
Right.
happens. Nobody stays mad about
Right.
anything because
Right.
it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time and energy.
Just move on to the next thing. But no, it's been fun. It's like basically we're the same here sitting on these mics as we are at home. You know us, Andy. You know how we are. Well, basically, we're just bringing our kitchen table show to the stage, basically.
Well, when this album came out, you guys had to do a lot of promo. You did a lot of interviews, and that's got to be different from back in the day too, where things were scheduled. Now you guys are doing it yourself. You're doing your videos. You're doing scheduling the interviews. Is that something you guys enjoy in the process?
I don't know that we don't love the structure of being our own management and that sort of thing. We have some wonderful people helping us out. We have a great publicist, Patty DeVries, thank God. We have a great company that helps us with marketing and helps us keep present on the socials, because we'd be very lazy about that. And I'll speak for myself. I am very lazy about that. So that's very helpful. We have support. I'd say we have a team. We have a team. It's a sort of a bare bones team, but we have a team, and they're very good at what they do. So that's super helpful. But yeah, we do a lot of the road managing ourselves. We do all that, all those sorts of details, and it's a lot. And we just laugh when things fall through, like we forget to order merchandise. And it doesn't show up in time. Stuff like that, we just laugh. Sorry. Oh well.
Yeah, we don't take anything too serious, and I don't know. It's pretty easy.
Back to the album Sound on Sound, John. Wow, you've got some pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's evident on the album, but the Sound on Sound. Wow,
that's my Smithereen voice.
Yeah, definitely. They got him the Smithereen gig.
That's my Smithereen kind of singing.
We do like to rock occasionally. I mean, there's about half country and half rock on this record. So.
And during the tour, you guys are doing other things as well from your past catalog.
Yeah, we don't do all the songs from the album. We couldn't do it, but because people want to hear things from her past bands, my past bands. So that's what kind of we. Trying to flavor it up enough so people are
members of.
Dude, that's a that they made that T-shirt. That's all it says on the T-shirt is members of, and she loved that. She wears that proudly. That's so cute.
Well, you were in the Beach Boys for 2 decades, and you sang songs during those sets as well. And you were always so animated. The videos I've seen, you're
not
getting
like
into
the guy they have now.
Oh, well.
The guy they have.
Is he like flipping stools and stuff?
He flips sticks all night long and plays with one hand and hits himself in the head and smiles and laughs and sings and plays drums all at the same time. He's pretty amazing. John Bolton. I love him. He's a funny guy, man. He's a musicologist. So he's in that band, and they just added a new guy. I forget his name. I saw on Facebook. I learned that they I didn't know they were getting a new replacement for Bruce, and they have that now for Bruce Johnston. Bruce left. So, yeah, but that was a great gig. In fact, last night we played in Des Plaines, and our lighting director and tour accountant came out to the show with his family. It was just so nice to see him. Because people don't know, but I traveled with the crew. I never traveled with the band ever. I stayed away from the band. No, and they're lovely and nice and everything, but they do band stuff, and I do crew stuff, and I've always taken my own gear. And it's just the better bus to be on with the crew, because they're funner people, because it's more normal. Nobody's talking about, hey, what about that guitar? Which one are you playing? Hey, how's that song? We didn't talk music at all. We just talked, let's go find a brew pub. Where are we going to go today? What's happening? Are we golfing? Are we going to go, somewhere fun? And that was the crew. And it would just be the best. And we'd load in, finish up, the band would show up, ask where's the dressing rooms, where's the food, and send them there. We'd just sit on the bus. I never got off the bus. Even before the show, I didn't go backstage often. I just stayed on the bus till showtime. It was more fun and relaxing. I loved that. That was the best time. And then I got let go. So, which was fine, because I tried to quit for a few years in my brain and but they kept paying me for some reason, so I couldn't stop. But it ended abruptly, and but I was very pleased with that, and so it all worked out fine. And now I sing with the Smithereens, and I sing with my wife.
Do you watch a lot of the Smithereens shows?
Absolutely, of course. A great band. Great and lovely people. So, again, for John especially, it's the best case scenario where he's traveling with these people who are just genuinely lovely people.
There's no big heads, just big
just
fun.
Sweethearts.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any hobbies that people would be surprised about? Did you save memorabilia or anything like that?
No.
If that stuff follows around.
Yeah, we're the worst.
People give us
archivists.
stuff all the time, and I take them home. I have a good archive.
We have stuff. It's just not
stuff
archived well.
But it's just in bags and the
Boxes
storage
and,
thing, and we don't know what we have really in suitcases and stuff. Nothing's displayed.
No.
No.
Not at all. We like to garden.
Yeah, those kind of hobbies. I'm a woodworker still, so I do that. And
we always have projects at the house, so that's.
And I like playing piano. That's just a relaxing thing. I may not be very good at it, but I do play it. I'll play it till the wee hours of the morning. I will go and play piano. Everybody's going to bed, and I say, I'm going to go play piano for a while. And I get stuck there just because it's such a cool sounding instrument.
I'm wondering, John, for you specifically, back in the day, you guys were on the Johnny Cash show. Johnny Cash stood there, and then he actually sang a song with you guys. Is that surreal to look back on clips of that? Do you feel like that is you, or does it feel like you're looking at somebody else?
Anything youth, I always say, oh my God, they are so cute. How did they do that? Because I don't know. That was them and this is us, But there's some of that alliance. But I'll never forget doing the Johnny Cash show and hanging out with Minnie Pearl in her dressing room, and she's showing me her shoes that are now on plexiglass, but I was backstage with her looking at that. Before they redid the Ryman, that's where the show was taped. So the dressing rooms were original. Grandpa Jones, his place was there. Ernie Ford was there. Carl Perkins, Chet Atkins, everybody was in the studio when we were there. And it was just the best time. And Johnny and June were just lovely. And Minnie Pearl, I'm a chickenaholic, and she had just started her franchise. And she literally brought her chicken to the Ryman, and we all ate her fried chicken. It was so sweet. And Johnny was just great, just so sweet. And that is magical that we got to do that with him, because I'm a big Johnny Cash fan. I sang his songs in our concerts growing up. And I
was kind of surprised. I saw a clip of you guys on, it was like Hugh Hefner's show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Playboy After Dark.
Playboy After Dark.
Yeah, that was cool. I got to sit next to Connie Kreski. She was also under my mattress in a magazine.
Unbeknownst to her.
Unbeknownst to her.
A lot of that stuff's on YouTube, but the quality is so grainy. Do you know of anybody that's got like an archive like the originals? Do you know if those are still out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of kinescopes out there. I know what you're talking about. There's somebody who has the footage, absolutely. But
I remember seeing that when it aired.
I've seen good versions of it and bad versions online. I've seen both. So
Well, in the Bangles, I mean, you guys were on your fair share of stuff too. American Bandstand at least twice.
Twice, 3 times, I think.
House band on Letterman.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that was weird.
You were a house
Yeah.
band on Letterman?
We did a thing where we, yeah.
Come on, with Paul?
Yeah, with Paul.
Oh, how lovely.
And was that wasn't in New York, right? Or was that?
That was in New York.
It's always
Was in
in
New
Oh,
York.
yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Ed Sullivan Theater, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And so, as far as the documenting, the Eternal Flame book came out.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm still razzed that the Cowsills and the Bangles aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you guys got in, if both bands got in, and you were given the option to play 3 songs from each band, can I ask you which 3 songs you would pick?
Well, we'd only had 4 hits, so I'd take 3 out of the 4 probably and play them.
You could be the guy that takes the deep cuts, the
I
3
know
deep
what
cuts.
I would want to do. You know me, I'm a rebel, Dottie. I would want to do something complete like, what the hell? What?
I would definitely do Hair last.
Yeah.
I would do, if we're just pretending here, like, it'd be cool to do Gotta Get Away From It All, but
Yeah.
nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to do Gray Sunny Day. We're not going to do any of those cool songs. So, I don't know.
You'd be outvoted.
I'd do Covered Wagon.
You'd be outvoted.
Oh, I'd be outvoted because if we got inducted, actually I'm not even in the Cowsills, so I hope that I would be allowed to go to the ceremony. No, I'm kidding.
You're always a Cowsill.
I'm
You're
kidding.
still
I'm
a
always a
Cowsill.
Cowsill. No, but my 3 siblings go out as the Cowsills, so they'd probably have a bigger say of what they want to do, and I'd let it roll with whatever they wanted to do at the show. I wouldn't mind. But we're not going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. We're in really good company.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. It's not important to me, and I think it's a rigged society in my opinion of who's the voting members, and says there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Who should have been in there and who's in there now? It's like, and God bless Dolly. I didn't think that was appropriate. She's not a rocker. She's not rock and roll. But because rock and roll isn't even
What does
in the
that mean?
categories at the Grammys anymore, it's just all rap.
Yeah. What does it mean?
What does rock and roll mean? So Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So they're just letting anybody in now, and it's fine, whatever. I don't care about it, quite frankly, and I'm not jonesing to be in it. I won't say no if they want to put us in it, but I don't care. I just like my simple life. I like going home. I like sleeping in my bed. And I like my girlfriend, and we just have a great time, and nothing else matters to me. We didn't put an album out to try to reinvent our careers. If it doesn't happen, we don't care. I mean, we like performing, and we'll do it as long as we can, as long as we're feeling comfortable doing it. And it's a joy, and I love talking to the people now. You know, I've gotten used to that, and it's lovely to hear their stories. You know, what you meant to them. It's a little embarrassing for me still, and a little uncomfortable, but I understand that's what it meant to them, and so it's sweet. And
Did people like to tell you where they were sitting when they first saw the Cowsills?
Yeah, totally.
Pretty much.
And it's very endearing, you know, especially the older you get, all that stuff becomes really endearing and sweet, and that you meant that to somebody is pretty
And we have to remember that also we started out as fans. I mean, we were kids and very young kids, and I'll say that's true for both John and me, that we were obsessed with radio, pop radio, vocals, music, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Dave Clark 5,
all of it.
All of it. And,
all of it.
I mean, as a very young child, as a kindergartner, I was in the car singing the harmonies to, pick your song.
The Kinks, come on.
Absolutely. So we started out there, and we went to, John didn't as much because he was already at and performing at concerts, but I went to concerts, as a kid, and not as many as a lot of people do when they make that is their entertainment, that is their source of inspiration in life. But I know what it is to be a fan, and so you get it when someone says, "I can't believe I'm meeting you," and
like Elton John. And
yeah,
Toppin,
gotta think about that.
when I
right?
did, I was in tears watching him play.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want him to be my friend. And somebody says, the only way that's going to happen if you're a Chippendale dancer. That was his manager, Johnny, told me that. He says, well, if you want Elton to be your friend, you better start working out.
Working on your abs.
that was so fun. But I got to talk to Bernie Taupin for a while.
Yeah.
It
was great.
Yeah.
Well, and you're talking about like being a music fan. Vicki, I was kind of amazed to see that when you were younger. I mean, you were big into punk, and that right. And then the Bangles were garage rock when you started. Like songs
absolutely.
like "Want You" would be a song that would be cool to play at a rock and roll Hall of Fame induction.
I think so. I'd probably be outvoted again, but yes. But we played when we started in the early '80s. The punk movement had kind of moved on from in Los Angeles, and it was sort of between rockabilly, and the hair bands were just starting to pop up a bit. And so we were in this kind of a desert area where we were alone with a few cohorts who just worshipped 60s psychedelic bands, and bands like Arthur Lee and Love and the Grassroots and the Byrds, and so we kind of found our tribe, and that became what's known as the Paisley Underground. I have to say that, it's really bands like Green on Red and the Long Riders and Dream Syndicate and the 3 O'Clock, and those became our anchors and our friends, but our first early shows, we played with Black Flag, we played with Red Cross, we played with Channel 3, we played with just a lot of local punk bands, and we played fast. I mean, we played everything really fast.
I love early Bangles. Just and then you released the album "How's the Hair Up?" or "How's the Air Up There?"
How's the Air Up There? Mm-hmm.
They cover that, and I don't know. You guys ended up becoming more radio friendly over time. Is that?
It was a natural progression. I mean, obviously, our label wanted us. They were trying to figure out how are we going to sell this thing that we have. Who are they? What are they? I mean, I always kind of wanted to shift to the rock side and stay in that world more than the. I mean, I threw an absolute fit on our first record to not have any synthesizers, and we did not, and I had to fight for that, but eventually lost that fight, but which is okay, and I sort of softened on that issue, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it's just it was a progression, it was a evolution. You have to change and grow, and we did. Was
Walk Like an Egyptian a surprise when that one took off? I
didn't think the label would release it. I thought there's no way they're going to have the cojones to release that song. It's so weird. And it was fun to record, I thought, but it was just so left of anything remotely like normal.
This is a good point where we can talk about Joey's Song, which, of course, if people aren't familiar with Joey's Song, it's an organization that raises money for research.
For epilepsy.
For epilepsy, thank you. I was drawing a blank. But every year they do a big concert down in Madison, and you guys have been doing that now for 3 years, which the first time I met John, it was 3 years ago now. And actually, but I was impressed because that's where I first saw John scream on the She's So Heavy, I Want You from the Beatles. Oh, yeah. And wow, that scream.
I can scream.
It's a good rock scream.
The cool thing about the Joey Song shows is it's like you're seeing a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, because you get a mix of all these different artists from different bands and pairings that you're not going to normally see. How does it feel for you guys being a performer to all of a sudden be playing with all these varieties of different people?
Oh my gosh.
Every year.
We're
thrilled doing that.
Yeah.
That's like being part of community theater. It's like there's this whole the whole sensibility of it is just the camaraderie between everybody.
You're the best kind of rock and roll camp.
There are no assholes at Joey's Song. Everybody is a team player and a love moment. It just is, and I don't know how it got pulled off that way, but that's how it is. I haven't seen any. You don't get
asked back if you're not of the mind, of the community mind.
Yeah, I guess.
And yeah, the combinations of people, it is phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah, will you sing with
my
me?
gosh.
Hey, can you sing this
Yeah.
part on this? Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh,
You
and
know,
it's last minute too. I mean,
everybody's in
yeah.
the hallway, with earbuds in,
Yes.
like learning the next part they're going to sing. You
Yeah,
know?
Jane Weed asked me literally 3 minutes before she went on stage, hey, can you do the harmonies on this town? I'm like, yeah, give me a minute. You have a minute. You have 1 minute.
Yeah.
Go. Okay, that sort of thing.
Performing in that kind of arena, is that it's more stressful or less stressful than doing like your Vicki and John solo shows?
It's totally out of
completely
control,
different.
crazy off the top.
It's different.
It's like, it's just,
You have to be in the moment, every moment.
yeah.
Because you're really...
You got Butch telling, go get on the other kid now.
Go.
play that thing.
Yeah.
Go play that.
You're singing
Hey,
on this. Go.
Go sing harmonies now. It's like, get out there. It's like,
And we're like, okay.
it's just wonderful.
Well, a couple years ago, Vicki, you did the Bangles and Friends, which you
Yes.
and Debbie and
Oh
then
my
a
gosh.
variety of people
I
performed.
had like the stars of
Hey.
the 90s, Kay Hanley.
That was
and-
so cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had just a great combination of women.
Yeah, you guys cheat
we
a
made
lot,
a
though, with
really
that.
good. This wasn't Girlfriends. This was the Bangles. It was
But-
different. And we
but
we
you're
really
plotting when
we
you do
left
that.
stage. You're just jealous. So yeah, we have to tell
Jealous?
people.
We let you guys
We have
win
to
all
tell
that
people
stuff.
that there is a competition. At least there has been for the last several years, where it is the know-it-all boyfriends against the know-it-all girlfriends. And so it's an all-boy band against an all-girl band, and we have beaten them 3 years in a row. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that the boys don't try, and you have upped your game. I got to say that. The first year you weren't even trying, but now you've definitely been putting some effort in, and I appreciate
We were
that.
trying to
And you were
esteem the
very
girls.
good. You were really good last year.
We were trying to
We'll see how
esteem
you
the
do
girls
next
the
year.
first year, and we
Yeah.
said,
You are
let's
so
do not bring
full
our
of
game.
it, full of it.
Do
You
not
don't
bring our
even
game
know what you're
because,
talking about.
because
you have
women
no idea
don't
what you're
get,
talking about.
Women in music don't get.
We made signs.
Don't get the
John,
due
like,
respect
it was
that we were trying to
it was
give
like being
them.
in camp.
So we let
It was
them
like a
win the
panty
first day.
raid.
And
He
the
comes over to the
second
girls'
time-
camp and he's stealing our
Second
signs
one
that
was-
we made.
No.
And he's like,
I did. I stole all their derogatory. We didn't write signs to take you down. You needed extra help to try to win by putting the signs up.
well, we're just expressing ourselves.
Anyway, we let them win this last year.
We're just
That's the last
expressing
time.
ourselves.
So next year, if they even have it,
Which we may not have it because we're
which might
against
not
war.
happen.
We're against conflict. We're against war.
Well, that's just one of the cool things that Joey sung. Is that you get to see this. And for the record, I think the guys did excellent this past January.
did.
They did jump around, and I think if the Packers would have won that game, there would have been a
there's
better
that.
feel in the air.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But
but they cheated because they were playing. Sorry, but they were playing to loops. And,
We
and
cheated?
you were playing to loops, dude.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll be back after this message.
we
Vicki
can,
may not be back.
well, if people want to check out Joey's song again, it's in January every year. Great event, raises money for
It is.
epilepsy.
Yes.
It's at the Sylvie down in Madison, and you should go. It's a unique experience that you have to actually
Yes.
be there to experience.
You
it.
will never see a show like this unless you're at Joey's song. It doesn't exist anywhere else.
Long After the Fire, the latest album that is going to be followed up by anything in the near future.
No.
Yeah. If John has his way,
I'm watching
if I have
TV.
mine way, he wants to watch TV.
I like to watch.
He likes to watch TV. Yeah, we've got a couple of things percolating. We'll see if Paul Allen can make it happen.
Don't say what they
Just-
are
I'm not
because they
gonna-
were going to
no,
be on the hot seat.
I'm not
and of
saying
course,
anything.
I mean, I don't know. We don't know.
And we don't
we're
know.
rebuilding our studio. That's procrastinating. We tore it all apart so we wouldn't
Yeah.
have to record, and so now we're rebuilding it, and it'll eventually get done, and we'll be back in there.
Yeah, like
but
we-
we don't know what we're doing yet.
We go back to LA tomorrow. We land. We go home. We start working on the studio. So yeah, there's that.
But really, I mean, this is the first year. I mean, we recorded it. It came out last April, but really no gigs. We haven't done anything for the album. So this year is the year we're pushing the album and doing the proper shows around this album. And then we'll see what happens in about 5 years.
I look forward to hearing the next thing that comes out.
Sure.
Very last question for you, for each of you. Which album do you sign the most copies of?
Oh wow.
When?
Like
Of our own.
your entire career, what album do you think you've signed the most of?
I got probably All Over the Place for me, just because that's one that seems to pop up. I mean, it's one of the older ones, but it seems to be the one that people. I like it when they come with the EP that the Bangles did, but it's fun when people show up and they have something that is absolutely vintage, and you can tell. Like a guy last night in the alley, and he had a copy of All Over the Place that was so falling apart. And he goes, "I'm sorry it's so old." And I said, "This just looks well loved to me." So good. Thank you for that. And you, John?
Wow, hard one. It's a triple tie. It's a triple tie with the best of Cowsills, the We Can Fly album, and the Cowsills first album. I sign those all the time. I see them all the time. The rare ones are 2x2 and On My Side, and I sign those too occasionally. But yeah, I'll say the best of is
I see a
the
lot of best
one
ofs.
probably I see the most. That's the Jack Davis cartoon covered one, but it's always surprising to see somebody break along after the fire that they didn't buy from us. So that's kind of cool. Oh, I like that. I like that. I think that's cool. And I always thank them. I say, "Oh God, thank you for buying that."
Where'd you get that?
It's so cool.
Well, and somebody asked a question here, so I'll squeeze this one
Yes,
in.
please.
It says, it's more of a comment. It says, "So is the new song Hair of the Egyptian in the works?" It's a play on the few songs.
I like
Hair of
that.
the Egyptian.
Tell them, yes, the Hairy Egyptian is going to be out soon. Hairy Egyptian.
Walk Like an Indian Lake. Yep, it's coming.
Vicki Peterson, John Cowsill, thank you so much. I appreciate
Eddie
your time.
McNamara, we love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
You've been watching Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio.